What's going on, guys? It's your boy Guzzy, and I want to talk to you today a little bit about Crystal Dynamics' new game, Marvel Avengers, and who is, canonically, the strongest character in the Marvel Universe. No, not Squirrel Girl, the Incredible Hulk. With the Hulk being the strongest character in the Marvel Universe, this begs the question, how easy does he make the game? When you're playing as Hulk, how much easier is it playing as him than as Iron Man, Black Widow, Cap, Thor, or Kamala? Even more importantly than that, how fun is he to play? Does playing as him just make the game feel far too simple and you steamroll through the content? Or is there still some little bit of challenge there, traversing and just fighting as the Hulk? So right off the bat, when you're playing as Hulk, you're going to notice that he does play like the Hulk. He's strong. He could grab enemies. He swings them around. It makes him really powerful. His ability to pick people up and put them down. It has a huge, wide arc. It deals considerable damage to anything that's even near him. You could throw enemies at other enemies. And you even get to do the kind of puny god attack where you just smash an enemy against the ground non-stop basically until they're dead. Even using another enemy as a weapon. You get to hold on to the enemy until their health bar is completely depleted or until you get hit. If you get hit while holding an enemy, you'll just drop the enemy on the ground. Which basically means that a high health mob, they end up being your weapon of choice for a good while, especially as you fight other high health mobs. As you progress through the game, you even get to level up this skill. You could use it to grab two enemies simultaneously. You could smack them against each other to let out a huge shockwave in front of you. You could kind of just swing them side to side, increasing the damage to anything that's in front of you. In all, this power, you feel like the Hulk. It's incredible. It's just fun. Now, the problem with this ability is you do quickly find out that it's not usable in all situations. There's a lot of enemies that they block. They just kind of dodge around as you try to grab them. You can't grab everything, and that leads to the issue of that decreases your overall damage output. Now, where the Hulk really excels is when you can actually get off a heavy attack and begin to combo all those attacks together. For example, one of his skills, you get to jump up in the air, and you can either kind of drop the elbow like Macho Man, or just punch the ground. But after that, then you just start punching the ground repeatedly, letting off tremors, and this kind of expels anything around you. If there's any enemies around you, it keeps kind of punting them backwards a little bit while still dealing massive damage to them. Now, unfortunately, there is a downside, and that's just a function of the game. It's that to hit an attack, you have to complete the animation, and the animations are actually very, very easy for the enemies to interrupt. So what this actually boils down to is if you're surrounded by a group of mobs, or if you're in the air trying to get off one of those heavy attacks, so that way you can start using your tremors on the ground to push everything back. If one thing attacks you in the middle of that animation, breaks the animation, your attack never goes off, and thus, obviously, now you're not dealing your damage, which you need to do. Now, as I said, this is a function of the game, but it actually feels worse as the Hulk than with anybody else. And I think the reason why is it seems like the Hulk's animations just take a little bit longer than anybody else to get off. For instance, if you're standing on the ground and using your kind of wind-up heavy attack animation, it seems to take about 3 seconds for it to actually go off. So it's 3 seconds where you're standing there, not doing anything, waiting and trying to attack, and then getting interrupted and thus not being able to do anything at all, and it doesn't feel good. Now, where Hulk falls behind the most, behind any other hero in the game, is he's actually really, really weak against shielded enemies, and there's a lot of enemies that do throw up shields. Now, Hulk's weakness with shielded enemies actually comes from the fact that he is not able to reliably either break through or just get past a shield in general. Many of the heroes do have a way to get through a shield, but Hulk, again, the strongest character in the Marvel Universe, can't easily break a shield, and he doesn't have a reliable way to get through a shield, which we'll talk about in just a second. Now, you would think, being the Incredible Hulk, you would easily be able to just bust through a character's shield, regardless of if it's a light attack, a heavy attack, picking up rubble off the ground and just tossing it at the enemy. Hulk doesn't have the ability to do this. So then this begs the question, how do other characters deal with shields if they're not as strong as the Hulk? The answer to that is really simple. All other characters have a vault mechanic. If they press towards an enemy and dodge, they'll actually vault over them. It'll stagger the enemy momentarily, and this means that you could actually unload damage to the enemy without them throwing up a shield. And generally this means that if you have a large group of people attacking, if your full squad is attacking a single enemy, now the enemy's going to take a lot of damage. They won't have a chance to kind of pick themselves back up or throw that shield back up, and thus the enemy is really easy to take care of. So without any ability to actually reliably get around or break a shield, this really leaves Hulk in a very bad state. In general, if you're doing group content either online or even solo where you could kind of build out your own team, you don't have a good reason to bring Hulk. Anybody else could do his job just as well, if not better than him. So in all, what does this mean for the character? Basically, it means that, again, there's just a better way to do things when it comes to Hulk. If you're putting together a squad, if you're playing solo, even if you're playing in a group with friends, you probably don't want to bring Hulk. And it actually hurts me to say this because Hulk is my favorite character, and I am having an absolute ton of fun playing as him. Unfortunately, again, the problem is that until Crystal Dynamic kind of fixes up his skill trees a little bit and gives us a better way to deal with shielded enemies as Hulk, he's just not super powerful. So what are some ways that they could actually fix Hulk and make him better to play? Number one, I think that what they could do is increase the animation speed for his heavy attacks. And what this would do is allow him to, again, more quickly break through those shields. Another option is, in trying to keep all the characters feeling different, just make it that his base heavy attack breaks through a shield. Again, you want all the characters to feel different. Right now, to break through the shield, all the characters do have to do a wind-up. It makes sense for a smaller character like Black Widow, like Kamala. A giant heavy character like Bruce, like Hulk, he should be able to just instantaneously punch right through a shield and shatter it. Third option is, if it's going to feel too imbalanced to just allow him to punch right through his shield, then make it tied to his rage intrinsic energy. Doing this would mean that he would actually have to use an ability to break the shield. The ability would not always be available. You would actually have to use your rage intelligently. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the current state of Hulk and how he can be improved, if at all, if maybe you think he's fine. Even if you disagree with my assessment of him, I would love to hear your thoughts. So please leave a comment below. If you like this video, also please click that thumbs up button, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, and turn on the alerts so that way you know when I upload new content. Until next time, this is Guzzy, and I'll catch you on the Chimera.